everyone. So in this video, let's see what are the customization that we can done within the forms and how the basic reports will be created and what are the reports data will be containing and what are the customization that we can done in the report as well. So these are the common things that we are going to cover. One is with the form customization and another thing with the report customization and the report forms, right? So let's deep dive on this. So I'm just in a builder form where, as we have previously seen, this is a list of fields that I've added in the system. And here in the form customization, we do have a duplicate option. Either we can form name where we can able to rename it to any time. And we also have a duplicate option where we can able to select what are the fields that we need to duplicate and the data where the spread will create from the node. So we can just duplicate the form in case if any form has to be recreated again, the same set of fields has to be recreated again. We can make use of the duplicate option that is there in the system, which will just duplicate this data whenever we get this. If we want to store the data, we just select that and we want to move that as form creation copy, something that we can rename it and we can add it. So if we want to store the data, it will be exactly the same set of fields that will be created. The user won't be allowed to edit select the number of fields. But here, like whenever if you like to have select data fields that is there, and then you just select the data, then the selected fields will be stored the data in the system. So this is how we just duplicate the data and just upload it to the system. And this is the duplicate concept. And moving towards that, which detail on the properties that we have in the form. So here, whenever the form gets submitted, right? So here we can able to show a custom message like with a form, which form has been submitted, something like that. We can able to rename this data and show it to the user. The user data was stored successfully. I'm just storing this data, and if I like to show the data to the user whenever the data gets submitted, this can be done. So once it is saved, if I go back and if I going to add any data, right? So this is how the data gets sent to the user. So it says submitted, there is some value that is already existing, and we can add one value. The user data was stored successfully. Like you can able to see this is the custom data that we have added into the system, and this is what it has been shown, right? So, and to the next, we do have a an email notification option where you can able to customize from which is one user and the two user and the subject template. And if you like to have any default template that is added in the system, we like to add it as well. And if you like to have a content that is a schema content or a plain text, you can also put able to configure that. So here we can able to just select this data and if you like to add any data from this form, we can just insert the fields from here. Right now you can able to see, I just want to enter the customer name here. I can enter here. Hello, what is the customer name? You can just select the data for the customer name. The data will be pre-populated here whenever the email is rolled out. Like basically, you create a complete message with the help of sending email notification. And whenever the form gets submitted, right? So as you can able to see that figure is on successful submission of the form. So whenever the form gets submitted, this email template will be rolling out to the relevant user's email. Okay. So moving on to the next, we can able to select whenever the form gets submitted, which website URL we need to redirect to, or which form we redirect to, which report or which page we can able to configure the data here. For example, if it was a form, it will ask which form we like to redirect the data to, or if it is a report, which report we want to redirect to. So something like that is by default available in the system, which will be easy for the user to redirect them to the relevant page content is configured. So and next thing is that whether we can able to capture the location, capture IP address, which can also be selected. And even with the buttons, right, there is a button called submit and reset. Whenever the form gets created, submit and reset, which is can be renamed by the help of using this button formatting here. So we can able to rename the data and even like some of the data we can able to hide it. If we don't want the reset button to be shown to the user, we can able to hide this data. Right? Like this we use for the update and cancel as well whenever we are editing the record. So confirm form submission. So this is nothing but whenever a form has been submitted, if we enable this, a power will be shown to the user to just make sure confirming the data that is there in the system, right? So we can able to make sure the data that is stored, and once we get the confirmation message from the user, we just submitting the form. This is just one step verification that we're getting from the user. And moving towards another thing, we do have a save draft option where we can able to store the data in a draft manner. So that data will be stored within the draft module. So let's see how the thing is working. I'm just going to enable the draft user. So one that would save, I'm just moving to that quickly refresh the screen. So I know you guys moving to that. I just like to put a data in storage here, and I just like to save the data as a draft, which means we have bulk data with multiple fields that needs to be updated, and we don't have time to get the data within the current period. If we are going to get the data on a periodical basis, what will happen if we like to store the data, but we don't want to submit the data? But instead of that, can we have a draft option where the data will be stored in some catchy kind of a thing, but it will be accessed later? Some kind of thing that is also available with the draft module. So right now I just have the username from the user. So my name is there, and my email address and this email address. I just like to store this data alone. So I'm just going to save it as draft. So I just store the temporary draft data that we are seeing here. So the draft data won't be shown to the users in the report as it is just a draft because we haven't yet submitted the data into the system, right? So you may have a question that you can use the drafts, right? So whenever if you're going to create a new data again, if you're going to the form create again, and in the top you can able to see the draft is some draft data has been stored. You can able to see the draft. The way just clicking the view draft. And draft will be, as you can able to see here, drafts older than 15 days will be auto deleted and any admin modification to be formed will delete all existing drafts. So if anything that is removed from here, for example, if I just unclick the option from here, the save draft option, the draft will be clear. So you can't able to edit the draft or get the draft again back. But until the admin doing any changes here, the data will be stored in the draft number. And it will also give us the version of when the draft has been saved. And here you can able to see what are the draft that you can able to create it and what are if you want to delete the draft, you can also delete the draft either by single or the multiple. But if I want to restore the draft, I'm just clicking on that. My draft data will be automatically inserted, and from here I can able to continue this data again. So once I feel the data has been going good and I can able to do it, I'm just either if I want to store the data in the same graph formats, I'm just going to show you that as well, right? Just giving some phone number data, something like this. And I'm just giving additional changes. I just got a new phone number. So I'm just saving the driver, right? So whenever I'm just going to click, I will get the same graph option here. And if I just click on it, I can able to see that new track that is already stored with the additional phone number is also shown here. So if you like to add up the draft data again and again, you can able to add the changes here. But once you click submitted, the data will be stored in the system and it will be moved from the draft. So the draft will be cleared from there, and from there on you have to edit it with the create a record itself. So for example, if I'm just submitting the data, so let's go back to the form creation. I can able to see my data has been added here. And if I like to have the data to be edited, I can use the edit option that is there in the detailed view of the record, and I can able to come back here and edit the details once it gets submitted. But if you go back to the configuration, you can able to see any draft version because the draft version is already submitted. So this is how the draft concepts work, right? So we can able to store the data in the draft, and we can able to make use of that later. And role hierarchy record owner either can be user or added user. You can able to configure it and restrict form entries, right? So allow one entry per user, which is nothing but the form will have one entry data alert per user and one entry per IP address if you like to store it with the geolocation, like allow only one entry within the location. Also, we can able to do it and enabling captcha and geofence also we can able to do it. And even we can able to handle something like the form which has to be like only 10 entries should be allowed. We can't able to add more than 10 entries. And the error message could be showing to the pop-up of the user is that we have reached the maximum number of entries allowed. This is the data that will be shown to the user. Okay. And next thing is that restrict form availability. So we can also restrict the form availability of the data, like whenever, like what is the start time the form should be available for the user. For example, if I'm just storing in the data, right? I'm selecting my date and the data has to shown to the user like 20 like in the future is giving. And start time could be this. And end time I can also fix like somewhere around 12th of October. The form is in the open date before active period. And we can also customize the form message or something like this. Like we can able to change it, try later by 30th September. Something like that we can able to do it. And end time is something like this, and also we can customize this date, right? So email data form, email address will show it in this format, and view template, and whether this is allowed for everyone or allowed only for the application users, also we can able to change the details here. And form title, while adding any record, like we can also change the title of form title if, in case if we are handling some kind of formats in the backend for the users which should not be shown. We can create the names in the backend, but while showing it to the front end as a user, we can customize the name as well. Like while form title, while adding a record, while editing a record, we can able to change the names instead of changing it in the backend. So only the UI point of view, the form names will be changed so that we can able to do with the help of this. So let's create like I'm just going to move into this form. Let's save the data and while creation, you can able to see once that is refreshed, it will be like form test, but in the backend it is just the form creation as it is. So only when the user shows, like when the user able to see it, it will be in the different customized name that you are given. But when the backend data is when we calculate the backend data, it will be just the form creation requirements, right? And we can also able to give field label with for like whatever field that we have here, right? So we can able to give the field height, whether it is auto. Right now it is an automatic field label. It's but if you would like to have it in a custom basis, also we can able to use the custom basis. So the custom is label data, we can give the custom is field. Right now you can able to see those move around, but we can able to do it, change it to automatic anytime we like to have. And the field and navigation either can be vertical or horizontal, that can also be done with the help of this particular configuration that we have in the forms. Right. So this is with the overall form properties that we have. And going forward, like I can you can able to see now, like this is a long form, and we have a lot of fields which we need to do scroll for a long period of time. So why can't we have the data to be embedded within the white spaces? So which will reduce the time for the user to see the data, and it will be much more user experience, right? So we do have the options for. So in Creator, we do have option like we can able to change the data from rows one single column to different columns. So we have a maximum limit of 3 columns can be entered in the particular one row. So if we refresh the form, I can able to show you that C4 line. So we can able to see 3 columns can be added and those 3 columns have been shown to the user, right? So this we can able to customize with the field label that we can reduce that and we can make it up between the single view too. So with the help of field label with we can able to reduce the label with between the fields and we can able to show it easily in a single view, which will be more easy, convenient for the easy user to enter the details in a single view itself rather than putting a long scroll to be done. Right. So these are the general configuration that we have in the creator forms by default, right? So these are the general configuration that we have, and hopefully, like you can able to understand the general configuration for the form. Let's in the next video, let's see what are the report configuration that we have within the system for the Java Creator module. What are the type of reports? How we can able to configure it, and how the user can make the better use of the reports. We can able to see it in the next video. Yeah. So thanks.